Thank you all for your presence, and thank you, sir, for doing the esteemed honor. Next, for a vote of thanks, may I now request that we
Peers, media persons, my dear colleagues and my dear students. At this moment, and language. Thank you so much. May God continue to bless you, increase your knowledge, wisdom, and continue to guide and direct our young people to their right directions. Thank you. May God bless you. Baptist College would like to extend our thanks to our governing body chairman and his team members. Thank you so much for coming, sir. Your presence make a great source of encouragement for us today to make this 10th Cultural Day make meaningful and successful one. Thank you, sir, and his.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a wonderful performance from the Cognac students, Baptist College, infused with such richness and traditional authenticity. Thank you to the Cognac students of Baptist College. We have with us in our midst today some special guests and well-wishers.
More than 90 indigenous linguistic entities. I am not using the word dialect, I'm not using the word language, because I would like to be in safer ground, so I will use the term linguistic entity spoken in Nagaland. So 90 indigenous linguistic entities spoken in Nagaland. Now this figure is speculative and has been arrived at taking at hand the 18 state-recognized languages and considering that there are 5 different varieties of each. So 18 into 5, you have a total of 90 in the minimum. Alongside these native languages, the state accommodates English as the official language and Nagamese as the lingua franca. In addition, Hindi and the recent entry of Sanskrit are included in the school curriculum. Now coming to the census of India 2010-2011, the census of India reports over 1,500 mother tongues in the country. However, out of the 1,500, only 122 are officially recognized and 22 are classified as scheduled languages. Now we all know that none of the languages in Nagaland, that is our native languages, is a scheduled language. I would classify languages as the dominant recognized languages, that can be equated to the scheduled languages. Number 2, the dormant recognized languages, that is where the speakers are available but the literature is yet to be developed. So that is where our Naga languages would fall into, the dormant recognized languages. And thirdly, the dead languages, where there are no speakers and no literature left. So I think it is high time that we start seriously thinking about our languages so that we will, so when we think about the development of a language, there are 3 stages in the development of a language. Now that is, first one is the selection of a language. That means now we have a variety of languages in Nagaland, and we have a variety of variations of those languages again. Now against the backdrop of the new educational policy, now there has to be a selection has to be made as to which variety will be taught in schools. So that selection process has to be first done in order to develop a language. And I think that most of our languages, we have gone through that selection process and we have already selected a variety which is to be introduced in schools and to be taught in schools. The next part, or the next stage, is the graphization stage. Now what is this graphization stage? It is where the spelling and the word division, that is all put in order. And the third stage is the codification stage. That is when the people accept the graphization that has been put forward by maybe the literature boards or maybe some linguists for the community. And to be very honest, where do the Naga languages stand in these 3 stages of development? Majority of the languages, I should say, they are still in the graphization stage. That is where the spelling or the orthography is still being prepared, and there is maybe a lot of confusion also, but confusion is good because it shows that, like something has been started. Now the next issue, to move on, the issues and challenges at hand. Okay, so in order to be able to develop one's language, first of all, you have to come to terms with what kind of spelling will be used, what kind of word division will be used, and so on and so forth. And the next step is, of course, you have to start writing in your own language. Not only speaking, but writing. Writing is very important. So, what is plaguing native writing and preventing authors to write? What is it? Number one, we can put it as rigidity in orthography that is enforced by the literature boards. Each recognized language has a literature board which concerns itself with evolving the spelling and orthography of the language concerned. So there is rigidity which is being enforced by the literature boards, which is making the people who can write and who are creative enough, but which is stopping them to write in their own language. Point number two, superiority of English writers. Now, under this, there is a lack of incentive because writers in indigenous language do not enjoy the same respect as their colleagues writing in English. Majority of translation works and writing of folklores is being done with English as the target language. This status quo needs to be broken, and the rebirth of writing in the native language needs to be encouraged. Number three, publication. Authors in indigenous languages are productive, but they lack empowerment. Writers whose books are adopted into the school curriculum do not benefit much because books are xeroxed by the students year after year. At present, nothing is being done to encourage the publication of literature in these languages. Authors resort to self-publishing, but this has its pitfalls, especially where quality is concerned. It is sad to say that the stagnation of the book value chain has seen many texts diminish or out of print in the absence of backup copies to sustain circulation. Point number four, marginalized group. That means feeling of marginalization from the dormant group. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, there are dormant languages, there are dominant languages. Now, the dormant languages or the dormant linguistic entities are the ones in the Nagaland context are the non-recognized ones. That means those which have not been recognized by the state government. They are the ones who are the worst hit in this pyramid of language strata. They are the ones who feel marginalized because nothing is being done to develop their languages. Moreover, there are instances where subjugation from the dominant language groups are seen at play. Now, how do we resolve these problems? What can be done? First of all, coming back to the orthography problem, that is the rigidity in orthography, this should not be a deterrent to writing. Just keep on writing. If you have the skill, if you have the creativity, just keep on writing, and the correction of the written material can be done over time. Don't worry, but you have to keep on writing. Number two, the publication problem. It costs next to nothing to digitalize a book and market it on the trending platforms. Now everything is online. And these are the improvements which must occupy local publishers. The process of digitalization, since I'm from the Department of Tenidie, and the process of digitalization of textbooks in Tenidie is being taken up by the department under Nagaland University, and starting from this year. Point number 3, how do we tackle these problems? We need support from the society and the government. The state needs prolific authors involved in native writing, proactive publishers, not only authors, but publishers, facilitative media. The media also has a lot to do in this matter, supportive government ministries, and an interactive audience. The literature production of new indigenous writers needs to be promoted and recognized. The situation calls for a stronger collaboration with academics, indigenous organizations, cultural and educational departments, and institutions of higher learning. Priority must be given to the dormant languages that are in danger of extinction. The training of teachers or cultural promoters need to be strengthened through workshops and courses in indigenous literacy and linguistic development. Now, to conclude, I would just like to sum up what I have just said. So to a large extent, the amount of literature. So literature comes about when you start writing in your own language. We have so much for English literature. We have so much of written materials, poems, stories, and so on and so forth. But what about our languages, our native languages? So the amount of literature a language has in circulation determines the life and vibrancy of that language. And a quick foray into the languages of Nagaland would reveal different strata of languages in terms of development and amount of literature available. And so far, I can very safely say and proudly say that the dominant language is Tenidie, that is Angami. Faced with the myriad of languages requiring individual attention, the state of Nagaland is faced with issues of augmenting the literature. And with the introduction of the new educational policy, steps are underway to develop written materials in the 18 recognized languages for its introduction in the school curriculum. Hence, it is why we need to write more in our native languages. Because to be included in the school curriculum, you need the native speakers to start writing so that these will be included, because there is no written material to be taught in the schools. And the majority of translation works and writing of folklores, as said earlier, is being done in English as the target language. And so creating awareness of the importance of native languages, shifting the colonial prestige tag to the native languages and to the speakers, resolving issues of publication are steps, if followed, would go a long way in keeping the indigenous languages alive. If you marginalize a language, you marginalize a people. We need to reclaim and resource our indigenous languages and take pride in them. Thank you so much.
Fields, and also for grounding the issues and endangerment, and hinting in the meanwhile and hinting the channels through which this threat can be resolved to allow. Before we move on to the next, I would like to say a brief note on culture and attire. Culture and attire. What we actually wear is more than just clothing. Attires are a signifier of our identity and culture. So it's no surprise that over the centuries, communities have used clothing as a means to communicate.
Culture as a whole, look at us today. Most of us are wearing other people's clothes, ornaments, talking in a foreign language. Many children in the urban areas do not speak their own dialects. And how we love to eat other people's food. And at this rate, we may even lose our own cultural identity. Fortunately, in the last few decades in our society, there has been a cultural revival, the need to look back, to search for our roots. Your College Cultural Day, I'm sure, will provide an excellent learning opportunity for everyone present, us included, teachers and students as well. With due apologies to members of other communities, I am referring to Naga culture as we are in Kohima, the capital of Nagaland. But I am sure you can relate to our context as regards to your own communities. What I want to once again highlight here today is, yes, to be a Naga, and in order to preserve Naga culture, we need to wear Naga clothes and ornaments, speak in Naga language. But in order to be a true Naga, you need to have Naga blood flowing in your veins. And in order to do this, you need to have traditional Naga food. Put simply, what you eat may not change your DNA, but your diet has a profound effect on how you express the possibilities encoded in your DNA. And that food can have heritable impact on your genes. Recent studies suggest that what you eat not only affects you, but it will affect your children and grandchildren. This study was conducted.
God.
Thank you, Ms. Manuel Junio Lese, for taking your time preparing and presenting before us such a beautiful traditional song.
Culture as a whole, look at us today. Most of us are wearing other people's clothes, ornaments, talking in a foreign language. Many children in the urban areas do not speak their own dialects. And how we love to eat other people's food. And at this rate, we may even lose our own cultural identity. Fortunately, in the last few decades in our society, there has been a cultural revival. The need to look back, to search for our roots. Your College Cultural Day, I'm sure, will provide an excellent learning opportunity for everyone present, us included, teachers and students as well. With due apologies to members of other communities, I am referring to Naga culture as we are in Kohima, the capital of Nagaland. But I am sure you can relate to our context as regards to your own communities. What I want to once again highlight here today is, yes, to be a Naga, and in order to preserve Naga culture, we need to wear Naga clothes and ornaments, speak in Naga language. But in order to be a true Naga, you need to have Naga blood flowing in your veins. And in order to do this, you need to have traditional Naga food. Put simply, what you eat may not change your DNA, but your diet has a profound effect on how you express the possibilities encoded in your DNA. And that food can have heritable impact on your genes. Recent studies suggest that what you eat not only affects you, but it will affect your children and grandchildren. This study was conducted.
And I would like to thank all the participants of the Baptist College students, teachers for this session. And also I would like to thank those who are going to participate even for the remaining session.